you, all the way from Jamaica.
Yes. We're going to be making this soup today, and this is a soup that my mom made throughout my childhood and still makes today. The difference for today is that now I make it vegan style, which is approved with all Dr. Sebi approved ingredients. And Lavonna's going to tell you a little bit about these ingredients we have in front of us.
All right. So to start off, of course, we have to have our water, and you know Dr. Sebi only approves spring water, which is naturally alkaline. We have our chocho here, or chayote, and we use this pretty much as like a potato substitute. We also have Scotch bonnet pepper. We have these frozen. We have them fresh, but you know don't use them very often, so we don't want them to go bad. Also turnip root. This is really good. Has a ton of flavor, and I love it in soups. We just figured because on the list it says turnip greens that I'm sure that we can also have the root as well. We have our green Burro bananas, which these are really the only approved bananas by Dr. Sebi, or you can do the baby bananas or the apple bananas. We have fresh kale here, onion, shallots. We have our onion powder, allspice or pimento seeds is what Jamaicans usually call it. We have Himalayan sea salt, cayenne pepper, garbanzo beans, and yes, traditionally or usually we would be soaking and cooking the garbanzo beans on our own, but for today we had to get the can, but they are organic, so give us a pass. And then here we have dried thyme, frozen cooked squash, and in our container here we have spelt flour. So we don't use any wheat, so only spelt flour is what we'll be using to make our dumpling.
The best part of the soup, the dumpling, because it's very filling.
And the last ingredient we have here is pretty unique. It's dried and ground papaya seeds. So this is what we use as a ground pepper substitute. It has a little bit of spice to it, a little kick. We'll show you all how to make this in a later video, but you can use either this, or if you don't have it or don't have the means of making it, just go ahead and use your cayenne pepper. Alright, so those are the ingredients, and then we'll have you to come back to join us on how to make the dumpling and how to knead up the flour.
Alright, lovely people. So the first part of our recipe, we're going to start with 3 cups of white spelt flour. You want to get a nice size mixing bowl because you are going to be kneading this for quite some time. The next part of the recipe is to add in 1 teaspoon of sea salt. You see we're using the pink Himalayan sea salt, but if you don't have that, just go ahead and use what you have on hand. Next, you're going to take a fork and make a nice size well in the middle of your flour to start pouring your water. In total, we're going to be using 1 full cup of water and then 1/8 of a cup of water. So basically you want to start with mixing a 1/2 cup at a time. So you want to mix it in pretty good, make sure it's thoroughly mixed. And you're going to just start using your fork to incorporate the water into the flour. Next, you're going to add in the second 1/2 cup of water. And again, you want to just do the same thing, fully incorporate that water into the flour, because then we're going to get dirty and get our hands in there. So for the next step, go ahead and clean off your fork. You want to make sure that beforehand that you've already cleaned under your nails, you've washed your hands of course, and then you want to remove any jewelry that you may have on. Go ahead and get in there with your hands and use what God has given you, and go ahead and start kneading that flour. So the technique of kneading is almost like a folding and rolling technique. So you just want to continue to do that. And then remember, we still have 1/8 cup of water left, And you want to slowly drip that in until you get the desired texture of your dough, which is going to be just completely smooth. Not very sticky, but not too dry either. So you'll kind of see what we mean. It's going to pull all the way from the edges of the pan. Nothing should be left in your pan. It should be completely clean. And you see as we're folding and also rolling that dough. It's really not that difficult. You just have to have a lot of patience. Make sure you're sweeping the sides. So that you can get every single grain of flour. So as you're kneading, as you're folding and rolling, you want to try and form it into a ball. It's pretty much going to come together as a ball anyway. And then once you've done that and you feel as though you had the desired texture that you're looking for, you can cover this over, and then you're going to set it aside to wait for the next steps of this awesome soup. Alright, let's push that dough to the side and get started with our recipe. So first you're going to start with 8 cups of water. You want to make sure that you're using a very large pot, big enough to fit a lot of chunky ingredients. The next ingredient is the cooked squash that is frozen. You can go ahead and add that into the pot. If it's thawed out, that's perfectly fine as well. Just add both of those in. Next, you're going to add in 1 tablespoon of sea salt. The next item is 1 Scotch bonnet pepper. You're just going to leave it whole and let it kind of immerse itself in the pot. The next item is your pimento seeds. So I would say add about 1 tablespoon or about 40 of the pimento seeds. Now you want to add in a nice amount of your thyme. So we're using fresh thyme. So I would say if you have the loose thyme, maybe add about a tablespoon. The next ingredient is your chickpeas. So go ahead and open up your cans, or if you're using your fresh chickpeas, you want to add those in. And it is BPA free, as you can see. Now you just want to stir everything together, give it some time to come to a nice low boil. The next ingredient you're going to add in is your onion powder. You're going to add in about 2 tablespoons. Now we're just showing you how you can cut up your onion for this recipe. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's gonna go into the pot and pretty much dissolve to where it's not even noticeable in the soup. Alright, so it's starting to get nice and heated. things are cooking, the squash is melting. It's exactly what we're looking for. And the pimento is, I'm sorry, not the pimento, the Scotch bonnet pepper is staying whole. So now I'm showing you how you can cut up your turnip root. So I know that this is a very unfamiliar vegetable. So you just need to chop off the top and the bottom, and then you're going to take a smaller knife, preferably a paring knife, and just go ahead and peel the skin. If you have a vegetable peeler, that would work as well. Alright, so now you're going to cut that root in half, and then each half you're going to cut it again. And now you just need to dice it into nice chunks. And as you're cutting it, you're going to smell the aroma and be blown away. It smells so good. Now we're moving on to our second vegetable, and this is our chayote squash. So with the chayote squash, you want to cut off the top and just start peeling away with your knife or with your vegetable peeler. I do suggest using a glove or using gloves because I usually have some type of skin reaction with this. It does numb my hands, and my hands begin to swell, and also the top layer of my skin does come off maybe about 15 to 20 minutes after touching this vegetable raw. So I would go ahead and use gloves and protect your skin. But I haven't had any reactions to it with eating it. So now we're just cutting it in half. And there are two seeds there. Okay. And then now you're going to take your paring knife and just cut in the middle to remove the remaining pit of the seed. Okay, and now you're just going to go ahead and cut that just as you did the turnip root. So cut it in half and then in some nice chunks, because we want this to still be able to be eaten throughout the soup. We don't want it to completely dissolve. So this should hold up. And then as you're done with cutting up these items in the order that we're having you to cut them up, just add them right to the pot. It's crucial that you do it in this order because there's a certain cooking time for each and everything that we're adding to the pot. So those vegetables have been added in. Everything is boiling, very nice. The butternut squash has completely dissolved, and it's giving our soup a very nice. So our next ingredient is the green banana. And all you need to do is cut off the top and the bottom of the banana, and then take your knife and you're going to run slits along the sides of the banana, maybe in like 2 to 3 places. Not too deep to where you're cutting in the banana, but just enough to get through the thickness of the skin. Then take your knife, as I'm doing, and kind of pry open the banana right where your slit is, and then use your finger to kind of feel down the skin and remove the skin from each section. So it makes it so much easier for you. Maybe if it's your first time, it will take you a little while, but you'll get the hang of it. So now just go ahead and cut your banana into bite-sized chunks. And set it in some water as you complete the rest of the bananas. Now we're moving on to our favorite part, which is the dumpling. So you're going to just take a little bit of the dumpling in your hands and start to fold in the sides, and then you're going to roll it between your hands. So again, just take a little piece, start to fold in the edges into the center of the dumpling, and then put it into the palms of your hands and roll it. Roll it to get it very nice and smooth and as flat as you need it to be. So we're just going to do this a few times, and then we'll show you how to make the second type of dumpling. So fold those edges in all the way into the center, and then start to roll it in your hand. Get it nice and flat. Now the next type of dumpling is very, very easy. You're just doing what you used to when you were a child, playing with Play-Doh to make like your hot dog or whatever. This is called a spinner. Very easy. Just take the same amount of dough into the palm of your hand, and instead of going in a circular motion, you're now going to go back and forth, and until you get your desired shape. So now we've added those dumplings into the soup. And now we're going to just start to remove our twigs of the thyme. So all of the herbs have fallen into the soup, so we can go ahead and take out those big pieces. We don't want to be eating those. Alright, so we're just showing you the two types of dumpling. And guys, I know that you saw us sometimes using measuring utensils and sometimes not. That's because really we usually don't measure, so we're only doing this for you. So just adjust all of your seasonings at the very end to your liking. Alright, so at this point in the recipe, we're pretty much almost done. We still have one more step. We're adding now in the fresh kale, which is very important in my opinion. I do believe that we eat with our eyes first, and the kale is going to bring much vibrancy to this dish, and it just draws you in. It speaks health on many volumes to me, and I love adding greens into recipes. So go ahead and mix this in, and it may be a little thick for some. It just depends on how much broth you want in your soup. For us, it is pretty thick, so we're going to add in just a little bit of water from our kettle and just mix that around, making sure that your consistency is where you would like it to be. Okay, so at this point, you're just going to let everything kind of just simmer down for like another maybe 10 to 15 minutes so that your kale can cook and also your dumpling, and you'll make sure that the banana is the last thing that's also being cooked. Don't forget to take out that Scotch bonnet pepper. I would hate for someone to get that in their bowl. So it's giving the soup all that it's got, and now it's time to come out. So this is pretty much the end of the recipe, guys. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Again, just let it cook down for another 15 minutes and you're done. Thanks for watching.